Hello, guys. Welcome to this live session. So, in this live session today, I'll be showing you how to digitize logos in Wacom Embroidery Studio. So, today I'll be showing you how to digitize logos in Wacom Embroidery Studio. So, I'm going to see if you have people to join us at this time. Alala, thank you for joining. So it's all about embroidery and digitizing. So in this live session today, I'll be showing you how to digitize logos in Wacom Embroidery Studio. Thank you for joining. It's all about embroidery and digitizing. Ekuto, thank you for joining. It's all about embroidery and digitizing. And in this live session today, I'll be showing you how to digitize logos in Wacom Embroidery Studio. If time permits us, I might also show you how to digitize flap and pocket cross stitch. But if I have enough people here that can, you guys can mention in the comment section what you would like me to digitize on this live session. Is it flap and pocket or logo? That's if you have people to indicate what we should do today. Okay, let's do that in the night. I can understand. So should we just okay? So I'll just do something quick now, then in the night. Okay, I'll try to come back in the night. So should we do okay, Mr. Diamond? Should we do flap and pocket now, logo now, or which one should we do in the night? I just want to do something now. So should we just do logo now? So that would be around 7 p.m. If it's going to be in the night, around 7 p.m. 7 or 8 p.m. What time do you think we should do that? Flap and pocket that looks like logo. Okay. All right. We'll do that. But I will just quickly do all right. That means we'll be coming back by 8 p.m. That's fine. No problem. So I'll just quickly do something now. Nothing serious because I'm already in the live session. We must do something. Big boost. Thank you for joining. I see you. I see you. So it's all about embroidery and digitizing. Share the live. So I'll be coming to live session often. So if you can always join me. So I'm still thinking about the right time to be coming to this live session to teach people how to properly digitize. All right. As much as I have a comprehensive, simple to understand, well detailed, and highly organized course on how to digitize, I also would like to be coming on live sessions to be teaching people how to digitize and become a Embroidery Studio for free. You understand? For people that want to have the basic knowledge of digitizing. So it's something I would love to do often. Something I enjoy doing. I love to, to teach people. And I love to share my experience, my ideas, and everything. Ika Fashion, thank you for joining. I see you. It's all about embroidery and digitizing. So I was actually asking if we should do flap and pocket now, or we should do that in the night. And someone already indicated that we should do that in the night. but I will definitely do something now, at least show you how to digitize logo now. I'm still, trying to confirm the best time to come on live sessions here, because I would love to be coming on live often to teach you people how to digitize properly with Wacom embroidery software. Although I have a course, but outside the course, I would like to teach people also online. Please, I just start working for people online. Please, how much can I sell flap and pocket? So actually, it depends on the quality of clients you are getting, right? So generally, what people do for flap and pocket is between 1.5 to 2K in naira, and sometimes 3K to 5K for agbada designs. But if you are working with high-end customers, so for me now, I have general designs on my website, but I have people that I digitize for. I have premium clients that I digitize for that. The minimum I take for flapper pocket from them is 5K and agbada 10K. In fact, there are agbada designs that I do for 20K just to digitize it. But these are brands that I create logos for. I create logos for them from scratch, big brands for that matter. So it depends on the market you want to serve. You understand? So that is how you make the decision of how much you you should be charging people for flap and pocket. But generally, generally, if you want to be doing most common designs that everybody does, so you can be doing like 1.5 to 2K for a start, right? For flap and pocket, and 3K to 5K for your agbada, right? Till you begin to have those premium clients, because there are people that are ready to pay you more if you give them what they want, and if you are very good with what you do, right? So that's basically that. Pookie, thank you for joining. I see you. ASF Thread, thank you for joining. I see you. It's all about embroidery and digitizing. So, like I was saying before, I'm actually still looking for the perfect time to come on live consistently, because it's something I would love to do consistently. Just to show people how to digitize logos on Wacom Embroidery Studio for the embroidery machines. Of course, I have a well structured, in fact, the most structured course on digitizing on the internet today. Yeah. So as much as I have that, I would also love to help people, to actually teach people the basics of digitizing, how to digitize logo in Wacom Embroidery Studio. So that being said, let's get straight into it. So I'll just show you I'll just do, logo digitizing now. And when I come back in the night, maybe I can do how to digitize flap and pockets, right? So my screen is in landscape. So if you are watching from your phone, you can, turn your phone to landscape, right? Grace Money, thank you for watching. Vivi, thank you for joining. Idris Babala, thank you for joining. It's Solomon, I see you. Ashabi, I see you. Grace Money, I see you. Popo, Dago, I see you. Winning is the main option. I see you. Thank you for joining. Bima, I see you. Thank you for joining. Grace Money, you are welcome. SARS, I see you. Saski, I see you. So it's all about embroidery and digitizing. So let's get straight into it. Let me go over. So I'm on the Wacom embroidery software now, and I want to show you how to digitize logo in Wacom Embroidery Studio. Yano Lua, I see you. D2, I see you. So I'm going to go over to my software now. So I'll come over to where it says graphics. Then I'll come over to import graphic. Then I have a folder where I have my artwork, the artwork of the logo I want to digitize. I have a folder where I have the artwork already. So I'll just go over to my desktop. This is my folder here. This is the artwork folder. I'm going to click on it. Then I'm going to click on the exact place where the logo I want to digitize is. Then I'm going to click on it again. Then I'm going to click on open to open the logo in my work area. You can see that. Then I'm gonna click on Shift Z to zoom out, right? Shift Z on my keyboard to zoom out. Then there's a grid on the work area. So most times I like to off my grid if I want to digitize like that. Observe, I see you. Thank you for joining. So I like to off my grid whenever I want to digitize logo. So I'll just come over here. This is a grid tool here. So I'm going to come over, click on it to off the grid. You can see that the grid is off already. So now when you have a logo you want to digitize, I always tell people one thing you should always do is to make sure you study your logo very well, right? When you study your logo very well, you'll be able to know where you're going to start your digitizing from. Then you're able to know which color you're going to digitize first. There are so many things that you'll be able to do when you study your logos very very well. If you study your logo very well, it will help you with the outcome of whatever you want to do in your logo digitizing. So I'm going to get started now with my logo digitizing. So I'm going to come over here to pick my tool, which is the complex fill tool. I'm going to click on the tool, right? Then I'm going to start digitizing. So the one I want to the area I want to start my digitizing from is this blue area, the filling or from this area. So I'm going to zoom in with Z on my keyboard. Then I'm going to come over here. I'm going to left click. Then I'm going to right click, come over here again, right click, come over here again, right click, and then come over here. I'm going to left click, right? Then I'm going to come over here, take it down here. I'm going to take it down here. I'm going to left click in this area. Let me bring it down a little bit. I'm going to left click, then come over here. I'm going to right click. I'm going to right click. If you are just joining, thank you for joining. I see you. Jennifer, I see you. Youngest doctor, I see you. Lizzie, I see you. Son of Imran, I see you. Ionica, I see you. Bodman, I see you. Jennifer, I see you. So I'm going to right click. I'm going to right click, right click. Then I'm going to come over here now at this edge here. I'm going to left click. Then I'm going to take it down here and close it up here, left click. And then I'm going to strike on the enter key 3 times on my keyboard to generate my stitch. So you can see the stitch is not showing now. So the reason why the stitch is not showing is that we have this satin stitch, set for default settings. So I'm going to change it to tatami feel now. So I'm going to select the area I digitize. Then I'm going to come over to where it says fuse. I'm going to click on the drop down menu there. Then I'm going to come over to where it says tatami. I'm going to click on it. You can see that we have that done. Then I'm going to change the color to the color of that element in that area. I'm going to use letter S to hide my stitch. Can you see that? Then use letter S again to show my stitch. Then I'm going to click on it. I'm going to hide my stitch. Then I'm going to select blue. This is navy blue. So I could edit this color now. I could edit this color. So I'm going to just right click on it. Right click on the color I selected. Then I'm going to come over here and search for the color that best represent the color I have on my artwork. So I will just come over here. I'm going to just double click on it. Then I'm going to click on letter S again to see it. Let me select it again. I'm going to right click on it, right? Then double click on it. Let me hide my stitch with letter S. So I think this color actually best fits what we have on the artwork. That is it. Then the next thing I'm going to do now is this element we have inside the logo, this element in this area, right? Then I'm going to zoom in and then start digitize. I'm going to pick my tool now. So I would like to start from here, from this plus sign. So I'm going to come over here, pick my tool, which is a column A tool. So I could use 2 tools to digitize this plus sign. I could use this tool that says column C, and I could also use this tool that says column A So let me just, which one should I use? Let me use column C. So if I'm using column C, I'll just zoom in. I'll just click in the middle. I'm going to left click, take it up. I'm going to hold down the control key to keep my line straight. I'm going to left click, take it down here again. I'm going to left click, take it down here. I'm going to left click, take it down here. I'm going to left click, take it down here. I'm going to left click, take it down here. I'm going to left click, take it down. I'm going to left click, take it down here. I'm going to left click, take it down here. Left click, take it down here. Left click, take it up. Left click and then bring it up here and close it up. Let me backspace and take this up a little bit. I'm going to left click, take it here and left click. Then I'm going to strike on the enter key 2 times to generate my stitch. Right, so the next thing I need to do now is to increase the column width of this element. Now you can see this is quite tiny, but before then I need to reshape this area properly. So I'm going to click on my reshape tool. You can see this here is not straight, so I'm just going to come over here and then bring this down. Right, just make sure it's on a straight line. Let me take this down a little bit more, then bring this here just to make sure we have it in the right place. You can see that. So I'm just going to right click on it. I'm going to click on object properties, then it's going to display this. Then I'm going to increase the column width to fit into what we have here. You can see that column width is increasing. Can you see that? So I'm going to change the color to this color. Can you see that? We have that right there. So the next thing I'm going to do is this love sign we have here. So I'm going to come over here and pick my tool, which is the column A tool. Then I'm going to come over here and then I'm going to left click here. I'm going to left click here. I'm going to right click, right click, right click, right click. So understand that when you're tracing curved areas or curved edges, so you use the right button on your key on your mouse to trace. So it's going to enable you to curve however you want it to curve. So I'm going to right click again. I'm going to right click, right click, right click, right click, right click, right click. I'm going to right click. I'm going to right click, right click, right click, right click, right click, right click. You know, just following up the elements. Right click, right click. I'm going to right click, right click. I'm going to right click, right click. I'm going to right come over here. I'm going to right click, right click. I'm going to right click, right click. I'm going to come over here, zoom it in. I'm going to right click, take it up a bit. Right click, right click, right click, right click. I'm going to right click, right click, right click, right click, right click, right click, take it up. I'm going to right click, right click. I'm going to right click, right click. So one thing I always tell people that whenever you are digitizing, you don't have to rush. You don't need to rush at all, so that you'll be able to, you know, do quality stuff for your client. Don't always put yourself under pressure whenever you are digitized, because whatever you do with your software, that is the result. That's the result you are going to produce on your embroidery machine, right? So I'm going to left click here, right click here, go back to that same point, left click, and then come over here, right click, then strike on the enter key to generate my stitch. Can you see that? Then I'm going to apply the color, which is this blue color. Can you see that? Then I'm going to come over here and digitize this area also. So I'm going to start from here. I'm going to pick my tool, which is a column A tool. Right, I'm going to left click here, left click. If you are just joining, thank you for joining. I see you. Shoyemi Olawale, thank you for joining. Just Eniola, thank you for joining. Fash Enla, thank you for joining. I see you. Peter Koliv, thank you for joining. Abba Monogram, thank you for joining. Ace, thank you for joining. Let's continue. I'm going to come over here. I'm going to left click. This is more like a straight line, so I'm going to left click here. left click here, take it up a little bit, left click, I'm going to right click, 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 I'm going to 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 right click, then I'm going to close it up here. I'm going to left click. I'm going to strike on the enter key. You can see that this, when you look at this area, let me zoom in, you can see that this actually comes into this a little bit, because this is still going to run on this element here is still going to run on it, right? So then I'm going to come over here now and then pick my tool, which is the column A tool again. I'm going to come over here, I'm going to left click, I'm going to right click, because this is a curve, element. I'm going to, or curve shape, or bent, right? So I'm going to right click, right click, right click, right click, right click, right click, right click. I'm going to right click, 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 right click. I'm going to right click, I'm going to right click, I'm going to come by right click, go left click here, let me right click here, right click here, right click here. I'm going to left click here, then left click here, then take it down, left click, and then left click, and I'm going to strike on the enter key to generate my stitch. Can you see that? Nisa, thank you for joining. It's all about embroidery and digitizing, and I'm presently digitizing a logo for embroidery. And you see that. So the next thing I'm going to do is this element we have over here. This one we have over here. Then the tool I'm going to use for that again is my column A tool. Then I'm going to come over here. I'm going to left click, because these lines are all straight. So I'm going to use the left button on my mouse through. I'm going to left click, take it up, left click, then left click, then I'm going to strike on the enter key to generate my stitch. Can you see that? We have that right there. Then I'm going to come over here, I'm just going to select that, then change the color to the blue color. I'm going to change this also to the blue color. So if you look closely very well, you see that the same thing we have here is what we have here. So what I'll just do now, I'm going to copy this and then duplicate it and move it to the other side over here, right? So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to use my polygon select tool to select this, then duplicate it. I'm going to come over here, click on the select button, left click on the select button, and then hold down the button on my mouse, then move it down here. You can see this area here. This is where we have the polygon select tool. So that I'm going to select it, then I'm going to just click around this area where I have this element, the one I want to duplicate. Then I'm going to strike on the enter key to select that. You can see it's selected. Then I'm going to click on Ctrl D on my keyboard to duplicate. Then I'm going to right click on it and come over to where it says transform, and then you see mirror horizontally. Then I'm going to click on it. You can see that we have that mirror horizontal. Then I'm going to take it to the other side. Vika, thank you for joining. I see you. Paps, Anissa, thank you for joining. Ifedima, thank you for joining. It's all about embroidery and digitizing. I'm presently showing you how to digitize logos in Wacom Embroidery Studio for your embroidery machine. Let's continue. We have that right there. Can you see that? Then the next element I want to do now is the text we have over here, because it's actually the same color with what I've been doing so far. So what I'm doing is that I'm picking it color by color. So when I'm done with one color, I'm going to move to the next color, right? Thank you. So I'm going to come over here and pick my tool, which is the lettering tool. This letter here is what we call the lettering tool or the text tool, right? So I'm going to click on it. Then I'm going to click on anywhere on my work area. Then I'm going to type the text. We have, what do we have here? We have nursing hospital, nursing hospital. You want to learn embroidery and digitizing the proper way, the right way. I have a well structured and step by step and simple to understand course on how to properly digitize any logo, native, kaftan flapper pocket, and agbada. I have my WhatsApp number on my bio. You can reach out to me on my WhatsApp. I'm going to send you the link of the course. So I'm going to take this up, right? Let's click, bring it down here. Let me show my stitch with letter S. Then I'm going to, bring it here, stretch it down a little bit, bring it down, right. Let me hide my stitch with letter S to be sure that that's the right font. Yeah, we have that right there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here and click on my reshape tool because I want to move each letters on this text to make sure it's well fit with what we have on the artwork. So I'm going to click on this point here and move this here, right? Let me zoom in for you to see properly. Please, you can put your phone in landscape. There's an option to turn your phone to landscape so that you can see what I'm doing properly, right? If your phone is in portrait, you can change it to landscape, your screen to landscape, so that I can see what I'm doing on the screen properly. Let's get straight. So I'm going to come over here. I'm going to left click, then bring this close here. So I'm just aligning all the text we have, all the letters we have on the text. Take this to this side a little bit, then move this to this side a little bit, then move this also a little bit to this side. So sometimes when I cannot find the font of the text I'm trying to do on the software, so I just digitize it manually. That is what I do sometimes because I love to actually give my customer exactly what, even better than what they gave me to digitize for them, right? So I'm going to just adjust this. So I'm just showing the basics of digitizing, and you are just getting started. What I'm showing now can actually get you started in your digitizing journey. So I'm going to select this now and change the color to this blue color. Can you see that? We have that right there. So we are done with every element that has this blue color. So I'm going to move on to the next element, which is this. Can we call this green? This is a kind of green color, this color here. So we are going to do this color. Is it green or tea blue? Let's assume this is green color. So there are two tools that I could actually use to digitize this borderline we have around there. The borderline we have around this blue element here. There are two tools I could use, but the best tool for me to use in this case is the column A tool. I could use the borderline tool, which is the column C tool, but I'm seeing something that is showing me that the best tool for me to use is actually the column A2. But before I go ahead to digitize the borderline, I'm seeing some things that I need to make adjustments to on this background filling we have over here. So I'm going to click on my select tool, then I'm going to select that area, then I'm going to come over here, click on my reshape tool, come over here, you can see this place here, click on the reshape tool, and then move this down a little bit. I want to move this because the borderline is going to cover this edge, all the edges. So I'll just make sure it's right. Thank you. That is it. Let me come over to this area also. Let me bring this down a little bit, then take this down a little bit. That is it. Then I'm going to digitize the borderline we have around the elements. So I'm going to click on my select tool, then click on my tool, which is the column A tool. I'm going to zoom in, then I'm going to use letter S to hide my stitch. Then I'm going to start digitizing this borderline. So I'm going to left click here, take it here again, left click, then I'm going to come over here, right click, right click, right click, right click. I'm going to right click, right click. I'm going to right click, right click. I'm going to right click, right click. So if you want to learn embroidery and digitizing the right way, I have a well structured, easy to understand step by step course on how to properly digitize in Wacom Embroidery Studio. I have my WhatsApp number on my bio. You can click on the WhatsApp number and then chat me on WhatsApp. I'm going to send you the link to the course. I'm going to right click, I'm going to right click, I'm going to right click, 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 I'm going to right click, I'm going to right click, 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 right click. Let me zoom out with Shift Z. Let me zoom in again. I'm going to right click, right click, right click, right click, right click, right click. I'm going to right click again, right click. I'm going to come over, right click, right click. Mohammed Mahir, thank you for joining. I see you. Sami, I see you. Thank you for joining. The cost is 77K if you're paying in Naira, and it's $84 if you're paying in dollar. Left click. I'm going to right click, right click. I'm going to left click, left click. Then I'm going to strike on the enter key to generate my stitch. Then I'm going to use letter S to show my stitch. You can see that we have that border line there. Can you see that? The green color is actually the default color. So after digitizing, I'm going to change it to the right color. So let me go on to the next one, to the next border line. This one we have here. I'm going to use letter S to hide my stitch again. Then I'm going to come over here, click on my tool, which is the column A2. I'm going to come over here. I'm going to left click, take it down here, left click. I'm going to come over here, right click. I'm going to right click here. I'm going to right click, right click. I'm going to right click, right click, right click, right click. If you find what I'm doing very interesting, I want you to tap on your screen. I'm going to right click here, right click, right click, right click, right click, right click. Take Profit, thank you for joining. T-Bone, thank you for joining. Brave Mind, thank you for joining. It's all about embroidery and digitizing. And what I'm doing right now is that I'm digitizing a logo on the Wacom Embroidery software. I'm going to right click, right click, right click, right click, right click, right click, right click. I'm going to right click, take it down, right click. I'm going to right click. I'm going to backspace. I'm going to right click. I'm going to right click, right click. I'm going to right click, right click. I'm going to right click, right click. Then I'm going to come over here. I'm going to left click, then take it down here, then left click. Then I'm going to strike on the enter key to generate my stitch. Then I'm going to use letter S again to show my stitch. Can you see that? We have that right there, right? Then I'm going to come over to the next element that has the same color as the one we are doing already, so which is this healthcare text. So what I'm going to do now is to type the text. I'm going to come over here, click on my text tool, which is the lettering tool, which is this letter A. I'm going to click on my work area, then I'm going to type the text. I'm going to type it out care. Then I'm going to strike on the enter key to generate my stitch. Then I'm going to take it up. Then let me zoom in. Then I'm going to come over here. Let's click on this area. I can see this area. Then I'll just stretch it this way. Then come over here again, stretch it this way. Let me see. I think we could change that font. So I'm going to right click on it, go to object properties, right? Then I'm going to click on this drop down over here to select the right fonts. Let's try block 1. Let's try block 1. Let's try block 1. Is block 1? Block 1 is not, does not fit well to what we have there. So let's try another font. So when you're digitizing logos like this, always make sure you look for the right font for your text. It's always very important to do that, right? So I'm just gonna look up for my font over here. Look for my font. Let's try this capsule font. No, that's not it. I'm going to click on the drop down menu again. Sammy, I see you. Thank you for joining. I'm just looking for the fonts now, the right fonts to use. Scroll down. Scroll down. Just clicking on the let me show my stage letter S. I think this is looking more like it. So let me take it in. Yeah, I think this makes sense. So I'm just gonna make sure it fits well with what we have on the artwork. So I'm trying to fit in my text properly to what we have on the artwork. Just fit in properly. We'll take this little bit. Then there's a little, I'm going to do a little, after fitting it to each letters on the text, there's a little edit that I'm going to do on the text, on one of the letters on the text. I'm going to show you, just stay with me. Then I'm going to click on my reshape tool now. Then I'm going to, there's a sign here, there's a tool here, a sign here that looks like an arrow. So I'll just stretch it forward a little bit just to give me more space to be able to edit those fonts or those letters properly. So I'm going to come over and I'm going to zoom in. There's a dot in the middle of each letter, so I'm just going to left click on it and then hold it down and push it to move each text separately, right? Letter A. So this letter R does not fit well with what we have there, but there's a way for me to edit it, right? So I'm going to edit it. Longman is asking how much is the cost. The cost, if you are paying in naira, the cost is 77,000 naira. If you are paying in USD, it is $84, right? So I'm going to hold it again, just fitting in each letters we have on the text. It's very important that we do that, right? I'm going to push this in, just moving each text separately, right? So we are just getting started in digitizing. So this, what I'm doing here, can actually get you started. So I'm just pushing this in a little bit, So what I'm showing you is basics of digitizing. So I'm coming back to this letter R now. Then I'm going to click on it. Then around the line, there's a line. That's why I'm zooming in for it. There's a line around this. So for me to be able to edit this letter, I will just click on anywhere. I could left click or right click on anywhere on this line we have around there. The line that actually makes up the letter. So I'm going to click on it, right? You can see that. So it's highlighted now. So I'm just use it to edit my letter properly. That letter R, just use it to edit it properly. You can see what I'm doing, right? Just editing it properly. Let me move this back. Let me delete this. Yeah. Delete this. Then I'll move this up. Should I? Then I'm going to move this up also. Does this make sense? Does it make sense? Does it make sense? So whatever I'm doing must actually make sense. So I'm going to take this here. Yes. Then bring this here. Yeah, have it right there. Then I'm going to bring this, just making sure we have exactly what we have there. Originally, if I'm doing this type of logo, I always love to manually, digitize my fonts for logos like this, because brands pays, take seriously how their logos looks, and you must follow everything that will make sure their logo actually come out the right way. So we have that letter R, each color sequence tab. Let me click on it, Shift L. So I'm going to select this. Now you can see this. I'm going to select this color and then change it to this color, sea blue. Right, this looks more like the color we have there. You can see that. Then what next? Now you can see that I just use letter D to hide the original artwork we have there. Yes, can you see that? It's looking more like our logo. That is beautiful. I'm going to use letter D again to show the artwork. Then I'm going to use letter S to hide my stitch. Then I'm going to come over here and then click on my text tool. This text is the next thing you will be doing now. Then I'm going to let's click here. I'm going to type HEALCARE. Caps log ARE, healthcare, nursing, hospital. And I'm going to click on the enter key to generate my stitch. Then I'm going to bring it up here. Yeah, I'm going to bring it up here. Select it. I'll just make sure I'll just use one of these letters here to properly size my text. I'm using letter U. I'll use letter U. I'm using letter U. Yeah. Then take this here. So I'm using the letter U on this text to size my text. So if you want to hide the stitch, you use letter S on your keyboard. And if you want to show your stitch, you also use letter S on your keyboard. Shirley, thank you for joining. It's all about embroidery and digitizing, and what I'm doing presently is showing you how to digitize logo in Wacom Embroidery Studio software for your embroidery machine. Now, size this properly, right? I think that makes sense. That makes sense. I think you have that. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. So the next thing let me show my stages. Next thing I'm going to do now, you can see that what we have here, the text here is actually curved. So how do we change it to a curved text? The one we typed is a straight text. So how do we change it to a curved text? I'm going to do that for you to see now. I'm going to click on it. Then I'm going to right click. I'm going to go to object properties. It's going to display this. Then I'm going to come over here and scroll down. Look at this place that says straight line. Let me undo this. Look at this place that says straight line. I'm going to click on the drop down menu. So there are different tools you can use here to actually curve your text. You can see there are different tools. We have the arc CW. We have the CC arc CCW. We have the cycle CW. We have the cycle CCW. So, but the one I use mostly is the any shape, because the any shape is going to allow you to bend your whatever you want to bend the text to any shape you want it to be in. So I always go with this any shape, right? Then I'm going to come over here and click on my reshape tool. I'm going to click on it, right? Then I'm going to right click. Let me zoom in. So you see there's a line under the text. We have a line under the text. So I'll just right click on it because I want to curve it. I'll right click on it. Then I'm going to come over here, bring this down this way. Can you see that? Also bring this down this way. Let me use letter S to hide my stitch, right? You can see that. I'll just bring it, this way. Let me zoom in. I'm gonna come over here, bring it this way. Then I'm gonna come over here. You see there's something like an arrow here. I'll just use it to drag it down here. Can you see that? Then I'm gonna come over here again. Just make sure this is well placed right at the bottom. Then come over here, let's click there, bring it down. Then I'm going to show my stitch with letter S. Can you see that? Then I'm going to change the color to color white. Can you see that? Can you see that? Can you see that? Use letter S to hide my stitch again, right? Then let me zoom in. I want to arrange each letters on the text to actually fit in properly to what we have on the artwork. So I'm going to come over. There's a dot here. I'll click on it, left click on it, then move it a little bit. Do same for here, move it here. So I'm just adjusting each letters we have on the text. Take it up here, come here, take it here, come here, take it here. I'm gonna come here, left click, take it here. We'll left click, take it here. We'll left click, I'm going to take it here. I'm going to do this for this G. This makes sense. I'm going to arrange this properly also. Bring this here, bring it here. So if you want to learn embroidery and digitizing the right way, you're free to chat me on WhatsApp. There's a WhatsApp number in my bio. I have a step-by-step and well structured, for the most structured course on digitizing for your embroidery machine. Easy to understand. Send me a message on WhatsApp with the number in my bio, and I will send you the link to the course. I'm gonna take it here. So I'm just bringing each letters to fit in properly to what we have on the text. Take it here. I'm gonna come over here, take it here. I'm gonna come over here, take it here. Just arranging each letter properly to make sure it fits in. So if you're just getting started in digitizing, the basics I'm showing you can actually get you started properly to be able to do whatever you want to do with the Wacom software, right? Then I'm going to use letter S to show my stitch. Can you see that, right? So I'm going to do something. I'm going to bring out the artwork and place it side by side. Can you see that? Can you see that? If you love what you see, I want you to comment, put it in the comment section with the love emoji. Can you see that? We have that right there. We have the artwork here, and then this is the digitized logo we have here. Can you see that? This is beautiful. The next thing we need to do now is to size the logo. So for logos like this, is mostly around 2.5 to 3 inches on the height, right? So it depends on the specification of your client. So you actually work with the specification your clients give you. That is what you use to size their logos. But if client does not give you any specification, you can just size. The right size to use is around 2.5 to 3 inches. So I'm going to come over here now. I'm going to come over here, select it. Then you can see this is really big. You can see this is showing me 14 inches on the height. So I'll just come over here. I'm going to reduce it. Now I'm going to bring it down. or I could just come here and then type what size do I want on the height. Let's say I want 2.7. That is it. Then I'm going to come over here, do to fit. I'm going to bring it here, zoom in, and bring this here. I'm going to hide the artwork now. I'm going to hide the artwork with letter D on my keyboard. Then bring this. This is it. Can you see that? This is our digitized logo, right? So there's, because we reduced the logo, this text is not showing properly. Can you see that? So let me just click on the reshape tool, then take it down a little bit, take it down, just make sure there's enough space we have there. So it's always good to do this extra adjustments whenever you have whenever you have your logo digitized. Is always very important. Can you see that? Can you see that? So this is basically how to digitize logos in Wacom Embroidery Studio for your embroidery machine. So if you have any logo, any question, you can drop it in the comment section. Right? I drop it in the comment section. Ush, thank you for joining. FX, thank you for joining. Valor, thank you for joining. Big Boost, thank you for joining. Sabu Dahiru, thank you for joining. It's all about embroidery and digitizing. What I'm doing here is showing you how to digitize logos in Wacom Embroidery Studio for your embroidery machine. Right. Let me bring back the artwork again. Letter D to bring out my artwork. This is what we actually digitize. Let me just reduce the size of this also. Can you see that? Then do to fit. So this is our artwork, and this is a digitized copy of our logo. And this is going to be the end of my live session right now. Thank you for joining my live session. I will see you on the next one. Peace out.